You know, I can't quite believe I'm in a kayak tent in one of the biggest and busiest harbours in the world. Seemed like a good idea at the time. Right, see you soon. See you soon. Let's welcome back to another very British adventure, and today I am upping the ante once again on the whole kayak camping adventures. You see, I'm going to be camping in this kayak once again, and I'm going to be camping at anchor once again, except this time things are different. The stakes have been massively raised, and I'm heading out now down towards Poole Harbour, which is one of the largest and busiest natural harbours in the world. We've got to tackle tides, we've got to tackle wind, we've got to tackle boat traffic, a whole host of navigational hazards. And right now, the reason this intro is started with me just frantically paddling, because I have also got to tackle a window of opportunity, a tidal window, that if I don't make it on time, there are spring tides right now, which means that large parts of this river are going to completely dry out, and if I don't make it, I will be stranded, and that will be a problem. So let's go. So the river you see me paddling down right now is actually called the River Frome. And for those avid watchers of you out there, you've probably already put the dots together and realised that this is a different river to the last couple of adventures I've been on. Now, an awful lot of the River Frome is a chalk stream like the previous ones, but I actually put the kayak into the water in a place called Wareham, which is where the river becomes tidal, and why there's a sense of urgency right now. But I'm heading down this river. It's absolutely beautiful. It's quite marshy right now. And as I say, I'm going to be heading out into the world's, or one of the world's biggest and busiest harbours. Now, it's a hell of a paddle. It's a beautiful day for it. I'm not complaining, but I am in a bit of a rush. But I imagine this is going to be super tiring by the time I get to my end point where I'm going to set up camp. So hopefully, if I can get to the mouth of the river before the tide has completely turned, that means I'll be out and I'll have kayakable water all the way down to our end point. But as I say, if I miss it, I'll be stranded. We've got boat traffic now. All new challenges. This guy's just showing off now, isn't he? There's me trying to get through the water as fast as I can. And I've got this chap. Looks like he's got a few years on me. Look, he's just flying past. Howdy. You're putting me to shame with your pace there. You know what you're doing. I think that's probably more the truth. Have a good day. Anyway, sleeping in your kayak in a little backcountry river with no boat traffic is one thing, and some of you thought that was a bit mad, but personally I found that to be absolutely fine. Sleeping in your kayak at anchor in one of the largest and busiest harbours in all of Europe, that's a very different proposition, and with it comes an awful lot more inherent dangers. And so I've actually upgraded a bunch of my safety equipment. Now, I've added some chain to the already obscenely oversized Rockner 4kg anchor, and again, hopefully that's just going to help it sit and bed properly during the tide cycle switches, because we've got a powerful spring tide, as I mentioned earlier. It's going to be heading one way, then it's going to be heading another, and that anchor needs to be able to reset itself, because one of those switches is going to be taking place when I'm probably fast asleep. I've brought some flares with me for good measure, and also, speaking of dangers whilst you're fast asleep, you have to also take into account the amount of boat traffic, and there's recreational users, there's ferries, there's commercial fishermen, all sorts that's going to be zipping around. And so again, when I'm fast asleep, people are going to need to be able to see me. So I've gone and bought myself an anchor light, and just to make sure it's above the tent, I've gone and strapped that to a broom handle. So fingers crossed that gets the job done, but we're going to find out. We're going to find out just how insane this idea is in a matter of hours. All right. The river is getting much wider, and I'm now seeing channel markers, which means that the mouth of the river isn't too far away and we're going to be coming out of this into the harbour. But what that also means is an awful lot of the shelter and protection I've been getting from the sides of the river is going to be gone too now, and I'm going to really start feeling the brunt of that wind. And yeah, I imagine things are going to start getting a bit more choppy shortly. That's a lot for a redhead. Even as a designated day walker, I think for a ginger, I'm still playing Russian roulette with that. All right, so much for having the tide on my side. I do technically have the tide on my side, but the wind, the headwind is stronger. So if I stop, I'm still getting pushed back. But as the tide accelerates faster and faster, that wind against tide situation is only going to become more pronounced. And the little waves that are splashing into the kayak at the moment are only going to get bigger. So I really need to get out of the mouth of this river as fast as I can. And I'm not going to lie, I'm starting to get really tired. I massively underestimated just what an epic paddle this first section would be. In old Blighty, it doesn't get much better than a day like today, that's for sure. Amazing. There's even some pine trees in the background, just for good measure, just perfect. Right, we're going to battle our way through all these kids sailing and then get over to that island. Doing my best to stay out of any big shipping channels, and so I mean, I don't know if you can see it over there. I don't know if you can see over there, there's like a big tanker over there, and that's precisely the type of vessel that I don't want to end up in front of. So whenever I come across a big channel, I'm basically trying to go through it at a 90-degree angle to get me across it as quick as humanly possible, because this thing doesn't go very fast, and it goes less fast when the wind starts blowing in my face, which seems to be no matter where I go, it's blowing in my face. So it's coming from where we want to go again, but yeah, I'm staying on the outsides of these channels until I can make a beeline across. Old Pottery Bay pier, it's all dilapidated now, you can't use that, but I think back in the day boats used to come and go from here and make collections and transportations of the clay that they'd collect from the island, I believe. I'm not sure about leaving the kayak anywhere around here. Those trees look precariously close to falling over any moment now. You can see like 2/3 of that root ball is exposed, and they've obviously got some landslide. It's pretty wild looking. And there's some that have fallen recently. This looks like a very popular spot to anchor. I can see why. Let's go ashore and have a little quick look around and take another pit stop. I'll tell you what, this right here, right now, this weather, this spot, this right here is England at her absolute finest. Amazing. Absolutely perfect. Amazing. This is probably one of my absolute favourite things, when you've got the coast, a beautiful beach, and then a forest that literally runs and butts right up to the water. You've got this really amazing infusion of smells, like all these oak trees and bracken and pine trees create a kind of, well, if you spend much time in the woods in Britain, you'll know what I mean. But then the coast also has its distinctive smell. You know, you've got the wind blowing that salt. You've got the seaweeds that are starting to appear now. The tide's running out, and again, that brings its own distinctive smell. And then when you fuse the two together, God, I love it. I just love it. I love it so much. As much as I could stay here all day exploring, sadly, that isn't the kind of time that I have. But again, if you want to see a multi-day video, jump in the comments, I implore you. All of us need to beg my wife to give me a multi-day pass to get out here and make a longer video, but in the meantime I need to get to the other side of the harbour, which is still quite a paddle, and this breeze is stiffening up and it's going to be in my face, I think, quite a lot of the way, so it's going to be hard going, and we need to get there before the end of the tide, because the last hour or so of the tide really rips through where we're going to try and get to, and yeah, given that it's a spring tide, it genuinely could overpower me trying to paddle this through there, so I really need to get my skates on now. Tide must be in peak flow now, because it's creating some confused water as it's ripping around the side of Brownsea Island here, and I'm just heading across to a bay on the other side of the way, but I just felt the paddling really like, I'm struggling now to get going. So just need to push on, because I'm just coming out into what is potentially quite a busy shipping area, so I just want to get straight across really quickly and not hang around in these channels too long. We've got ferries over there, big tanker over there that's just left. Nothing's coming behind me. Oh, okay, let's go. Look at these birds, look, there must be a load of fish around here, because these birds are going absolutely bananas for it. You see them sort of swooping and then just diving into the water like that, boom. Oh, there you go. They're all around me, absolutely everywhere. Just hitting that water. There must be a load of bait fish in the water. Oh, I haven't got the rod out in a while. Shall we? Look how quick and easy that is. I love it. Let's have a look, shall we? Oh, he's on, oh my goodness, straight away. Oh. Easy tiger, easy. Look at that, just a tiny little schoolie bass, too small to keep. There's probably a whole shoal of them here. Off you go, mate. How tiny this one is. Lovely little baby bass. That needs to be a lot bigger than that to keep. Oh. Another tiny little one. Beautiful little bass though. A few more years yet though before that's ready for the table. Oh, got another one. It's almost every single cast. This is amazing. So many of them, but they're all pretty small. Whoa. Oh, another little one. Beautiful. In you go. As much fun as fishing out here is, these gigantic mega ships are giving me the heebie-jeebies, so I'm going to go into shallower water. Before I set the tent up and put the inflatable mattress over the top of it, I just wanted to give you a quick explanation that I missed out last time, how I've set my kit up. So my predominant kit bag is here, that's where my torso is going to be. My midsection, my arse basically, is going to be here on top of the camera case, and that's rock solid. And the reason being is, if I need to sit up, move around or anything, all my weight concentrates into one spot, and that's absolutely solid, so nothing's going to get damaged when I put all that weight down concentrated in one area. And then the other bits and pieces will be here where my feet go, so again they won't have a great deal of pressure in them. And then I've got my anchor light, which is going to sit obviously proud of the tent, and that's got that whole 360 degrees light, so when we get back out there, any boats in the middle of the night that do happen to come past should be able to see me. Well, so for the vast majority of you, especially if you see my previous videos, you'll know just how quick and easy this tent is to set up. So alright, let's have a little look, see what we're working with. So we've got a pillow, sleeping bag I'll get out after we're already on the water so I don't get it wet. We've Got a little airbed, inflatable there. Got a waterproof poncho again. When I get from the water into the kayak, I'm just getting as little things wet as possible. Towel just to dry off anything else. Little lantern, then obviously our anchor light. And we're good to go. Change the plan. I haven't put the anchor down yet, but the wind is actually blowing us towards Brownsea Island, which is what you can see here. But come tonight, that wind is going to shift around from the northeast and we won't have any shelter where we just were. So we're going to allow the wind just to very kindly push us where we need to go, so I'm not having to use any energy. And then we're going to hide just behind here on the island, and that will protect us from that wind tonight, and we'll be good for tomorrow, hopefully. This almost feels like some kind of divine intervention. I mean, to all the ardent seasoned sailors out here, I must look absolutely ridiculous, but I'm just pottering along, not having to do any strokes. Yeah, we're just cruising through the water. And we're going to land somewhere over there, and then we'll be good. All right, whilst we head off on our slow motion journey, shortbread. The mother-in-law makes the best shortbread ever. Rather than having a cook up today, I actually had a little bit of leftover beef joint from a beautiful roast, and I decided just to carve it up, put it into some fresh organic bread, and then smother it in so much horseradish that it'll almost certainly bring a tear to my eye. For anyone who doesn't know what horseradish is, it's like the English version of wasabi, I guess. Oh. Mm. Oh. Yeah, got a cook. You know, we're making pretty good time here. Just having to paddle a bit now to get the right direction. Right, anchor's out, and hopefully we'll still get a sunset. I think the sunset will probably be over there, but it'd be amazing if we could just see the last of the sun down here. I'm going to set an anchor alarm, and I'm going to have my dive knife strapped to my leg, so if for some reason I do end up capsized in the middle of the night, I don't know how well I'm going to cope with that situation until I'm in it, I guess, but I think this strapped to my leg, at least I'll know I have some means of cutting my way out. That's my logic anyway. On top of that, we've got the anchor light, which I just need to straighten up, and then we're good to go. The waterside residence is ready, sir. Peak low spring tide right now, so it's going to be about 3.5 meters deeper in the next few hours, so I've let out all the anchor line that I can, and hopefully that'll be enough. All right, I am as set up as I think I'm going to be, but there are definitely still some questions that are unanswered. Firstly, am I still going to be here in the morning, or is the tide, one way or another, going to drag me all over the place? Is the anchor going to hold? Is a boat going to bump into me when I'm fast asleep? Am I going to be able to put all of this out of my head and even get a good night's sleep? I have no idea. But what I do know is this here is stunning. And the biggest question I have is, which sundowner I'm going to take out of the lucky dip to have and enjoy this moment? That's the question. That's the question. Let's have a look. We have a Marks & Spencer 0.5% low alcohol lime mojito. Don't mind if I do. Cheers. You can tell. God, you can really tell. Sharing the anchorage with a fellow sailor, or two or three. This isn't about needing alcohol. Like, this is an amazing moment, and again, this is definitely somewhere I still want to have my wits about me, so it's probably a good idea that I'm not drinking anything stronger than this pretend mojito. That tide has turned. You can really see it ripping back through here. But the anchor looks like it's holding quite nicely. Awesome. Alright. That's about to get bumpy. It's a good little test. Pretty stable. A whole bunch of kayakers about to come past. Imagine I'll get some funny looks right now. Evening.
Hello. Oh, yeah.
How you doing?
Looks amazing. Oh, wow. sorry.
Trying to squeeze as much out of the kayak as I can, you know.
You're sleeping there tonight, are you?
Sorry?
You're sleeping there tonight.
Hopefully.
Oh, wow. Enjoy the view.
Hopefully it's no wind. If not, you end up in front.
Another boat just entering the anchorage. They're probably wondering what's going on.
Enjoy.
It's certainly raised a few eyebrows. It's also made people smile. That's good. I don't know if they're smiling because they're just like, oh, that's good, or they're just laughing at me, but beautiful. Don't have the GoPro pick it up. It's a little seal. Just popped his head up to say hello. You know what I mean? There's something about seals. They really remind me of dogs. They've got that same sort of curiosity and sort of playfulness about them. It's gone now. Oh, amazing. What a day. I'm going to watch the very last of that sun disappear behind those trees, and then I'm going to try and get some shut-eye, and then the big questions get asked. Will the tide shift and lift our anchor up and set us adrift? Or will we stay put, and when it gets dark, will a boat not see our anchor light and ram us whilst we sleep? Hopefully no to both of those, but the truth is we're not going to know until we wake up again in the morning. So wish me luck. I'll see you in the morning, chaps. Morning. Well, the anchor didn't drag. The anchor light is still going. Didn't sleep quite as well as I did mid-river. I woke up a couple of times. I think the wind picked up and the tide changed, so the boat was spinning around a little bit. And then I had a Chinook helicopter fly over at about 3 in the morning. That's pretty difficult to sleep through. But other than that, another successful adventure. Morning. So the question now is where we're going to take this kayak camping setup next. If you like these kind of videos, if you want to see more of these kayak camping adventures in even more random and extreme places, then maybe hit the subscribe button and come along. But for the rest of you, I'll see you next time.